Ahoy hoy, I'm Planarwalk, and there is one person that keeps on coming into my live chat whenever I'm doing a live stream, and that is MultiTom. Now, I have invited MultiTom to come onto my show a number of times, but every time I have done so, he has refused. Now, one of the funnier times that he refused to come on, he said that he usually charges half of the super chats, and no, I'm not giving anyone money to have a discussion with me. Either you come on and defend your belief in a flat earth, or you can be just another keyboard warrior like all the other keyboard warriors. Now, to be fair to MultiTom, he could have been joking, but it is a sentiment that I have seen from quite a few flat earthers where they say, oh, I'm not going to come onto your show unless you turn off super chats or give me some of the super chats, because otherwise you're just profiting off of me being on your show. But the thing is, I don't need people to come onto my live streams to make money off of their stupidity. I just need to make a video on them, like this video here. Now, I'm aware that MultiTom is probably just looking for attention. I mean, he refuses to come onto a live stream with myself, or Mr. Sensible for that matter, but he likes the fact that Simon Dan made a video on him because one of his videos got a lot of views because of that. So what I am saying is, once you have finished watching this video, just go watch another video on YouTube. Don't waste your time going over to MultiTom's channel and leaving a dislike or a negative comment, because, let's face it, he's just going to like the attention. But with that out of the way, MultiTom does have a video that is titled Undebunkable Flat Earth Proof, and I just cannot resist debunking something that claims to be undebunkable. So let's take a look. So I'm just going to give MultiTom a bit of advice here. You don't need to put the title of the video into the video. In fact, you don't need any Windows Movie Maker style text, because that is quite boring to watch.
I'm near East India DLR station, and it's lunchtime for me, taking a break from work. And what have we here? Oh, it's level water. Water, level water. Why are you so plentiful? Because the earth is flat, motherfucker.
So this is his undebunkable flat earth proof. Should have I really expected anything more than this? So the problem that MultiTom seems to be having here is he's thinking that flat and level are the same thing, when they're not. So what level essentially means is that if you have a level surface, then no point on that surface will be higher than any other point on that surface. Now, on the globe, height is typically measured away from the center of gravity, which is why the Sky Tower doesn't have a negative height, as opposed to the pyramids of Giza, because they're both pointing away from the center of gravity. Just as a small aside, if flat earthers start saying that heights of buildings all being positive prove that the earth is flat, then I will facepalm myself so hard that the velocity of my hand traveling through the air will give the air enough energy to overcome Coulomb's barrier, thus creating a fusion reaction. But back to my main point. If height is away from the center of gravity, then an object could have a surface that any point along the surface is the same height. And even though it's the same height, it could still be curved, provided that that surface is large enough. What this all means is, if something is level and it is large enough, that means that it can be curved.
Simple as that. Even PhDs don't understand that.
When flat earthers say that PhDs don't understand something, they are very much showing off their Dunning-Kruger, because I guarantee you that PhDs understand water a lot better than any flat earther can.
There's no way that water can cling to the outside of a basketball.
But water does cling to the outside of a basketball. That is something that actually happens in reality. I don't know if you've missed that somehow.
Water is always level. I don't know in what other language that I can say for you to understand. Water is always level.
Except water isn't always level. I mean, I'll refer to the basketball again. But this is a mantra that flat earthers like chanting over and over again, as if every time they say it, it becomes more true somehow. Now, if flat earthers wanted to be more accurate in the way that they describe water, then rather than just simply saying water is level, they might say something like, water will always fill its container. But if they wanted to be even more accurate, a better way is that water will conform to the forces that are acting upon it. This is pretty much a catch-all, because if water is level and still, then the only forces acting upon it are forces like the container and gravity, although flat earthers would say, I don't know, dropity. But if water has a lot of waves, then there's wind, which is adding another force on it, which is creating waves. If water is sticking to something, then it might be due to surface tension, which again is another force that would be acting upon it. Now, because we've established that water will conform to the forces acting upon it, if there was a force that were to make water stick to the globe, like gravity, then there is no reason why water wouldn't conform to that force as well.
This proves a flat and stationary Earth. No superstitious forces needed, like gravity. This is proof.
Well, actually, you do need a force, because, funnily enough, the reason why water is level is due to gravity. If there is no gravity, or at least not a force to keep the water level, then the water would just simply not be level. It might float away or something like that. So that means that level water is by no means a flat earth proof, but is instead evidence for gravity. Good job, flat earthers. So I think I have time for another MultiTom video, because I probably won't make another video on MultiTom, at least not for a while. And this one is called They Killed Flat Earth, They Killed the Truth.
The truth has always been dangerous to those liars and Satanists who rule this world.
Well, that would depend what you mean by those who rule this world, because if you're talking about some shady Illuminati organization that you made up, well, they can be whatever you want them to be because you made them up. But if you're talking about, I don't know, country leaders, well, Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau, they are both Christian. Now, sometimes you might get an agnostic or an atheist country leader, and there are some country leaders that are Muslim, but I don't know about any Satanist country leaders. I haven't heard of any.
It's also dangerous to those who are deceived. They will fight to protect the lie, because they don't know what the real truth is.
What it sounds like MultiTom is talking about here is where people are confronted with ideas that actually contradict what they believe, and it actually causes a reaction in the brain which is similar to physical pain. Now this happens regardless of whether or not what the people believe is the truth, because they think that it's true, so generally they try and defend their ideas or their beliefs. It's really that simple.
Billions of people all over the globe believe this is reality.
Yes, billions of people all over the globe believe it's reality because they're all over the globe. It is reality. They're on a globe. You said they're on a globe!
The idea itself is ludicrous when you really scrutinize it. The globe is illogical and impractical. Nothing works on it.
As opposed to the flat earth, right? Which nothing works on. I mean, the flat earth can't explain why sunrise and sunset happens. It can't explain why ships disappear bottom first over the horizon. It can't explain why eclipses happen. It can't even explain why water is level. I mean, sure, it says that water is level, and apparently that proves that the earth is flat, but it doesn't explain why water is level.
Except if you use pseudoscience, fantasy, and science fiction.
Except I just use observations without adding ad hoc explanations as to why I didn't see what you'd expect to see on a flat earth.
When you come to the realization that you've been lied to for centuries, it's quite a shock.
What? They've been lying to me for centuries? Those darn whippersnappers. I thought something was up for the 5 centuries that I've been living. I'm gonna go do something about it. Ow, my hip!
When you know that the Earth is a created realm, motionless and contained.
I actually thought that after that dramatic pause that he was going to say flat. I'm kind of disappointed, actually.
It's uncanny that people who find the truth all think alike.
This is because you all watch the same ridiculous YouTube videos made by the same handful of con men, and you all quote them verbatim without applying a shred of critical thinking.
And that is why all flat earthers think the same things.
They also recognize the fakery that has been perpetrated by powerful organizations and their governments.
Which powerful organizations are you talking about there, MultiTom? Are you talking about the Bureau of Meteorology? Are you talking about airlines? Or how about GPS manufacturers? Every single one of those organizations would have to be in on it. And you brought up governments. Every single government would have to be in on it if they wanted to cover up the shape of the Earth. That's a ridiculous amount of people.
Flat earthers seem to cut through the bullshit.
You might want to tell that to all the flat earthers that don't cut through the bullshit, like yourself.
And know that even events such as the JFK assassination, the moon landings, 9/11, etc., 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 were complete hoaxes that would fool the entire world. It is as if the flat earthers have been given a higher state of consciousness. Their minds have evolved to another level.
Flat earthers having a higher state of consciousness? You can't be serious. Look, just because you believe in all this insane bullshit and believe that everyone's out to get you, it doesn't mean that you're smarter than everyone else. More than likely, you're just finding connections where there are none and becoming paranoid over little things.
Believe it or not, throughout history, the controllers have always moved quickly to quell any uprising in the truth movement. They suppress it very quickly before it even begins.
If that were true and the Earth were flat, then why did they not suppress the flat Earth when people started finding out about it? For years, conspiracy theories have been running rampant on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and it's only very recently have these companies thought, maybe we shouldn't have all these conspiracies on our platforms because it makes us look kinda bad. If some ominous they were controlling everything and didn't want Flat Earth to get out, then you'd think they'd approach YouTube, Facebook and Twitter and say to them, hey look, make sure nobody ever posts anything about Flat Earth. Got it? Cool.
They know that there are people who cannot be controlled. They know that there are people who cannot be deceived, although the numbers may be very small.
If there are people that cannot be deceived and the Earth is flat, then why not just quietly yeet Flat Earthers out of the population? That way, Flat Earthers won't be telling everybody that the Earth is flat. And it's not too much of a stretch that they could make it seem like an accident. Oh, this person got in a car accident. They should have been paying attention to the road. Oh, this person got 3rd-degree burns from their water heater and that did something that made them die.
But the danger is that if the truth is allowed to grow, it will gain momentum and engulf the whole world. Of course, if this happens, then the satanic regimes all over the globe will topple.
Well, that means they've got a lot to lose, doesn't it? It means that if someone were to try exposing them, then they'd immediately want to yeet them. So, MultiTom, please tell me, why are they letting you make a video that is exposing them?
If the globe is flattened, then we will all live in a completely different world. A world where reality rules and fantasy and science fiction are relegated to our TV screens and movie theaters.
You can keep telling yourself that.
A man in the street will never ever be heard. Even if you climb to the highest rooftop and shout, people will just walk by.
That is because he's the town crazy. Nobody likes listening to the town crazy.
These few people who know the truth recognize that governments control all media, including social media.
But if governments did control social media, and governments were trying to hide the flat earth, then they would never allow flat earth videos on YouTube. And they would never allow flat earth posts on Facebook and Twitter.
Today, we all live in a totalitarian police state. People in power are selected, not elected.
Now, this is a sentiment that I used to agree with, but I don't anymore. I used to think that when it came to politics, the people that you're voting on, both sides are basically exactly the same and they want to screw everyone over. The reality seems to demonstrably be that no matter which country you are in, both sides will be different. No matter if it's the Nationals and Labour, whether it be the Liberal government and Labour, whether it be the Tories and Labour, whether it be the Republicans and the Democrats. If both sides were the same, then you wouldn't expect Jeremy Corbyn to be the target of one of the biggest smear campaigns in political history. And also, political parties wouldn't spend so much on advertising because no matter who gets in, it's a win-win, so why even bother advertising your political party?
The governments of the world are tyrants. They're supposed to listen to the people. Instead, they tell the people what to do.
I don't think I'd go as far as to say that any democratic government is a tyrant, although the USA has some scary stuff going on sometimes. And yes, governments do implement laws, which I guess by some anarchist standards could be considered tyrannical, but I think that saying, do not murder, otherwise bad things will happen to you, I don't think that's a bad thing. I myself very much like not being murdered and not being thiefed off of, and I think other people enjoy that too. And just because a government passes laws to stop your conspiracy bullshit from harming other people, doesn't make it tyrannical. But anyway, that's it for this video. Leave a comment letting me know what you think. As always, a big shout out to my $20 or more patrons. What Jesus, Hugh Jarsz, M.C.Nutkin, Wolfie, and Morrie. If you want to support me financially, you can do so on Patreon. There should be a link there. But anyway, I will see you in the next video. Between you and me, thank you for watching.
Billions of people all over the globe believe this is reality.